Alright, hello everyone. My name is Jacob, and I'm going to be trying to teach you guys today how to play Chinese poker and also how to play a good strategy, how to employ a good strategy in order to win money in the game. Now, before I go into an actual game, I want to show you some screenshots that I recorded from the website Tiger Gaming, and I'm going to try to explain the game as I show you these screenshots. Let's start with the first one. Alright, as you can see here, there's 4 people here, there's 4 different hands. Each hand contains 13 cards, and they're divided into 3 segments. The front one is 3 cards, the middle one is 5 cards, and the back one is also 5 cards. Now, I'm assuming that you know how to play poker, and so you know what the rankings are. There's a straight flush, there's 4 of a kind, full house, 3 of a kind, also known as trips, 2 pair, 1 pair, and high card. Now, in Chinese poker, each player gets 13 cards. Up to 4 players can play on a single deal. 4 times 13 is 52. So, if 4 players play, then all the cards in the deck are being used up. Each player gets 13 cards. They divide their hand into 3 segments. And then, after they're finished setting their hand, each player compares their hand to each other player, and they gotta win 2 out of 3 in order to win. If they lose 2 out of 3, then they lose. If they lose all 3, or they win all 3, that's known as a sweep, and then they win a landfall. You get a special bonus for that. The way it works is that each hand is worth 1 unit. So if you win 2 out of 3, you're only gonna win 1 unit because you're winning 2 units and you're losing 1 unit. So the net win is only 1 unit. However, if you win all 3 units, a sweep, then you win 3 units because you're only winning and you're not giving anything back. So this is what makes the game so fascinating, because sometimes the strategy will try to get you to proper strategy dictates that you try to win all 3, try to sweep, or try to prevent the sweep at all costs, because it's the sweeps that either you execute on others or they do on you. Those are the sweeps will make the big swings. That will produce you the big winnings or the big losses. And therefore, it's very important to try to adjust and to try to play according to the probability of you sweeping others or them sweeping you. And so, let's go down to business. In general, the strategy is here that you want to win all 3, obviously. But it's very hard to win all 3, because with 13 cards, not all cards are going to be perfect. If you're playing a very strong hand in the backhand, then you're not going to have a very strong hand in the middle or in the front. You can't play all 3 strong. So ideally, even though you'd like to win all 3 and you like to sweep, it's not going to happen. More often than not, you're either going to win 1 unit or lose 1 unit. And therefore, you want to try to sway the result in your favor, so you want to win 1 unit. And to do that is to try to focus on 2 of the 3 segments that you have, and try to win those 2. Hopefully, your opponent will lose to those 2 segments that you have, and then you will win 1 unit. Okay, instead of just distributing the strength of your hand among all 3 groups, among all 3 segments, and then winding up losing the whole thing, instead, try to focus your strength on 2 out of 3 and win 1 unit. Now, of course, like I said, if your hand is really strong, then you might try to go for a sweep. But otherwise, try to focus on 2 out of 3 and try to win those 2, and you'll win 1 unit. So let's evaluate how these guys set their hands here. Now, I'm assuming that you're aware that, of course, I didn't mention this as of yet, but obviously the backhand is the first 5 card hand. This hand right here is the backhand. The middle hand is the second 5 card hand, and the front hand is the 3 card segment in the front. In the front hand, straights and flushes do not play. It's only high card or pair or trips. Okay, 3 of a kind would be the best hand here. 3 aces would be unbeatable. And the worst hand would be a 2-3-4. Okay, that's basically a 4 high, and again, straights don't play, so 4-3 deuce is not a straight. And of course, the front hand must be weaker than the middle hand, and the middle hand must be weaker in poker value than the front hand. So you got to remember that. This is an important thing to remember in Chinese poker. If you do not abide by these rules, then you're fouling. That's considered a foul hand, and you lose automatically, and you lose the whole thing. You got to play 3 units, not 1 unit. You got to pay up. And if you're playing against 3 players, then that'll cost you 9 units. So be very careful how you play. Okay, in this case, this guy is playing 9s full in the back, and he's playing a king high flush in the middle, and he's basically sacrificing the front. The front is only a jack high, which is very weak. Right? It just so happens to be that this guy in the middle has a 6 high in the front, and luckily he actually beats him both in the back and in the front. He actually sweeps him. But that's unusual. You can't really expect to win with a jack high. And so what this guy is really playing for is the back and the front. He's hoping to win the back and the front. Okay? If you look at, for example, if you compare Burley, the one on the left, to Carp 17, the one right here, then you'll notice that Burley does beat him in the back and the middle hand, but he doesn't beat him in the front hand. So this is basically according to plan, right? He was hoping to win with a full house in the back and the king high flush in the middle, both of which are strong hands. If you compare Burley to Jaja Gluck, which is me, then you'll notice that once again he beats my back and middle, but he doesn't beat my front. So you see how people try to focus their strength on 2 hands that they figure to win, and basically he can't beat my 8s anyway. No matter what he does, he will never be able to beat my 8s, and therefore he didn't even bother trying to win the front. So this is a smart way to play the game. And the same thing applies to me. The reason I'm playing 8s in the front is because I got a very weak hand in the back and in the front. The back and in the middle, I mean. And therefore I'm playing 8s in the front because I know that this has a very great chance of winning. 8s in the front is strong, whereas aces in the middle or 7s and deuces in the back are not strong at all. They're weak, very weak. And therefore I'm playing defense here. I'm trying not to get scooped. Right? That's what I'm trying to do, and I'm doing that by focusing on the front hand. I want to win the front hand only. I'm hoping to win the front hand. Of course, I want to win more, but I can't realistically expect to win the 7s and deuces, especially. I cannot expect to win. Aces, maybe. But I'm really relying on the 8s to save me. Okay, the 8s in the front are stronger than the aces in the middle. I'm hoping that the 8s in the front will save me from being scooped. And as it turns out, that does actually save me from being scooped. I lose 1 unit to all 3 players, and that's why I lose 15, because we're playing for $5 a unit. And so I lose to all 3 players, but I do manage to beat them on the front hand, and that's why I only lose 1 unit instead of 3 units to each player, which would make it a $45 loss. And so, yeah, so take a look at all these players, how they set their hand, and you'll get an idea of what it means to try to focus your strength on the hands, on 2 of the 3 hands, so that you win 1 unit. And unless, of course, you have a very strong hand and you can win all 3, you have a chance of sweeping. But otherwise, you're focusing on 2 out of 3, or if your hand is really weak, you're focusing on just 1 out of 3, like I'm doing, and trying to avoid getting scooped. That's your objective. Okay, now that we've seen this hand, I have many other screenshots to show you, but I want to get into business here and show you how the game is played live, and I want to show you how to organize your cards, how to arrange them so that you see all possible plays that you can make with those cards and all possible angles that there are in this game. And so this is the Tiger Gaming website, and this is where I usually play for fun. And so I'm gonna try to go into this game here, Outrigger. As you can see, there's 3 out of 4 players right now at the table, so I'm going to be the 4th one. And, okay, here we are. So, I'm going to sit down here, and there's going to be a new game starting in 25 seconds, you see in the lower left corner. And so, I'm going to show you how to see what's in your hand, how to see what possible plays you can make, and also how to decide which play to make. Okay.